There is a rumour that British food is bad, but what you might not know is that this country is home to some of the best farm-to-table dining in the world. Today we're heading to a tiny town on the southern edge of the Lake District to experience exactly that, at a restaurant that holds 3 Michelin stars and is regularly ranked the best in the UK. But the real question is, what is dining there really like? As someone who travels for food, this is my guide on how to spend 2 unforgettable days eating your way around one of the UK's most delicious regions.
We've just arrived in Cartmel, which is a tiny village right on the edge of the Lake District. Honestly, I think if you didn't know about it, you would almost miss it. But that being said, it is also considered one of the best destinations in the UK for food lovers.
Surrounded by farmland and layered with historic stone cottages and winding narrow laneways, Cartmel is a quintessential Lake District village. You could easily spend an afternoon walking the countryside routes, pottering around the independent shops in the village, visiting the Cartmel Priory, a 12th century church, or popping into the grocery store for a fresh serving of their famed sticky toffee pudding, which now comes in every flavour you can imagine. But over the last 20 years, Cartmel has become synonymous with one of the best restaurants in the world, and that is L'Enclume.
Now when you come for dinner at L'Enclume, you actually have the option of booking one of their rooms to stay in the village. Very luckily, as it has started pouring down outside, we have just checked into ours, which happens to be located just above the restaurant, so you can kind of see chefs moving between the test kitchen and the restaurant. Creates a really cool atmosphere.
Now, L'Enclume is actually housed in a former blacksmith's workshop, and our room is in that same building. So throughout the space, you can really feel the love for its history in the restoration. The simple interiors and cosy textiles encourage you to exhale the moment you step inside, made all the more better with homemade cookies and a coffee to enjoy overlooking the village.
I think when you think about Michelin-star restaurants in general, let alone a 3 Michelin-star restaurant, the things that come to mind are like super glamorous and glitzy spaces and maybe very theatrical meals and menus. But from my first impressions just walking around Cartmel and seeing the way the rooms are set up, I don't think L'Enclume's going to be like that, and that has me really excited for dinner. It seems that it's more about sort of bringing together the best people and produce in the Lake District and the surrounding region and just putting that together in one perfectly packaged experience for you on the plate. So I'm very excited. I think that's far too much talking. Let's go and see what 3 Michelin star restaurant L'Enclume is really like.
Now, before we get into the meal, a little bit of a backstory. L'Enclume was founded in 2002 by chef Simon Rogan, and at the time it was one of the first restaurants to set the standard for what farm-to-table dining could look like in the UK. L'Enclume is actually French for anvil, and the building operated as a blacksmith's workshop right up until the 1950s. You will see small nods to its history throughout, through the preserved stone walls, the creative art pieces, and the iron tableware hand-forged in England. The menu is 15 courses that work with the seasons, taking most of its produce from their own farm just minutes up the road. More on that tomorrow. While the dishes are incredibly technical, a dictionary may be required at some points, the food itself is approachable and, most importantly, utterly delicious. Some of my favourites included this magnificent morsel, a savoury bread and butter pudding made with coralline cheese and glazed in birch sap. Celeriac roasted in yeast oil with buttermilk, which looks quite unassuming, but you will want to savour every single bite. Or the beautifully bright frozen Tunworth cheese paired with bursts of champagne, rhubarb and lemon thyme. We went for the mixed drinks pairing, and while I don't mind a glass of wine, I'm forever impressed by the clever and complex non-alcoholic options that places like this dream up. We very luckily had the chance to pop back to the pass and see the chefs in action, and I could just watch this for hours. I mean, it is no small feat to deliver such a complex meal with absolute ease. A simply exceptional evening, rounded out with the signature anvil dessert made of caramel mousse and miso. Very fitting.
We've woken up to the most beautiful blue skies and sunshine in Cartmel today, so of course I had to leap out of bed and go for a walk around the village and then also go for a walk up the stream as well. It's just so beautiful to see spring starting to come to life here. You've got the tulips and the daffodils up and the birds sort of singing along in the trees in the morning. It's just such a serene way to start the day. And then on the way back, we popped into Rogan Co for breakfast, which is included when you stay here. Luckily, it was a very reasonable portion of breakfast because I don't think I could have eaten a lot more food after last night, but the produce, as has been the theme, was just amazing. You know, they make their own brown sauce. The eggs were just so bright and yellow, and some of the best eggs that I've had in a very long time. Beautiful way to start the day. We are well set up for our next activity, which is heading up the road to the farm, which grows a lot of the ingredients that supply the restaurants around here, and so it'll be really lovely to learn about what's in season right now and how that's inspiring the menus and what they put on the plate.
Located less than a mile away from Cartmel, at the farm, we met with Adam and Liam for a tour of everything we had the pleasure of devouring the night before. As we wandered through the polytunnels and across the fields, we spotted produce and herbs from dinner, from purple broccoli through to lovage, and of course, lots and lots of celeriac. It was so inspiring to hear about all of the clever ways the team are making use of the ingredients, from preserves and oils you can buy in the shop to a full-blown composting system fed by any food waste from the restaurants. A very rare glimpse into seeing your food before it hits the plate.
What a way to kick off the morning, getting to spend some time with Adam and Liam exploring the farm and see a lot of the ingredients that we had on our plates last night being grown, and also just learning about how much actually goes into the process of growing that volume of ingredients to supply to all of these restaurants. It's the amazing work that they're doing. We are now heading back into Cartmel to kick off the eating portion of our day, to visit the first of two restaurants we will be eating at, which is Simon Rogan's more casual neighbourhood-style restaurant, Rogan Co.
Rogan Co is a 1 Michelin-starred restaurant right next to the river in Cartmel, and it's a really lovely option for something that is a bit more casual than L'Enclume. In fact, they do a seasonal set lunch menu for £49 for 3 courses, which is what we went for. Starting with the most delectable milk rolls glazed in honey, followed by a bowl of gorgeous greens from the farm with comfy egg yolk. For mains, we had this glistening crispy chicken leg with leeks, which our server noted was his favourite, and I think I do agree, as well as this picture-perfect bowl of celeriac with grain ragu. And while our time in Cartmel is over, we are not quite done with the Lake District just yet. Our next destination is further north, so on the way we stopped off at Windermere and Bowness-on-Windermere for a wander around. These towns sit on the shores of England's largest lake and are the perfect place for a coffee break and an afternoon of exploring the shops. And just up the road is Blackwell, a beautifully preserved arts and crafts house filled with intricate woodwork and experimental details from the 1900s, as well as a permanent collection dedicated to the arts and crafts movement. From here, it's only a few minutes to our home for the evening, the stunning Linthwaite House. Perched high above Lake Windermere, this historic property is a beautiful blend of traditional Lake District charm and creative modern touches. We spent the afternoon exploring the meticulously manicured gardens, complete with an extensive art collection and the first signs of spring, and these two that followed us around for quite some time.
We've just spent a lovely afternoon sitting in the hotel bar overlooking a very gloomy and moody Lake Windermere, and it's really reminded me why I love this region so much. We actually spent a few days here a couple of years ago. I vlogged that trip as well, so if you want a more comprehensive guide on things to do and how to structure your itinerary in the Lake District, I will leave that linked up here. But for now, we have a very important reservation to get to, and that is our last restaurant of this food adventure around the Lake District, and that is at the hotel restaurant Henrock.
Here they offer a range of menus from the easygoing 2-course through to a full tasting menu, so you have plenty of options to choose from. I loved this decadent laminated bun with tomato and miso, basically a savoury croissant, as well as the Savoy cabbage with buttermilk. The produce here is also from the farm in Cartmel, and they are growing a ton of cabbage this year. The desserts here were my favourite of the whole trip, right down to the very Moorish petit fours, a lovely way to end our time in the Lake District. And that very sadly brings our time eating our way around the Lake District to a close. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thank you to Simon Rogan and his team for hosting me up here the last few days. I have no obligation to make any of this content, but I just think what they're doing in this corner of the world is so special and really deserves to be shouted about. I hope you enjoyed this slightly different style of video from me. I really enjoy watching and creating food and restaurant-led travel videos, so do let me know if there is a destination in the comments that you would like me to cover next, and as always, I will see you in the next video.